come to order. Boy, it's been a minute since we've done one of these, and I forgot. I had to think up that line. That's how it starts, right? That's how club meetings start. We're here with it's a Saturday Afternoon Movie Club. I am Geoff Tate from Instagram. You all see me on Instagram. I used to be real active on Twitter.
Now you're on Threads.
Now I'm on Threads. Too active on Threads. Boy, I need to put that shit down. Just need to clip those threads. I am starting to get... I'm spending more time on Blue Sky because there's this... the way you could set up your feeds I have like 3 Star Wars feeds. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. It's way more fun over there. Although lately the Star Wars feeds, the political situation.
I bet fucking Kylo would have voted for Trump.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just the fact that we're living through the beginning of the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, right.
Keeps coming up, but whatever. This episode comes out in about 6 weeks, so we'll know what happened.
Yeah.
By then, maybe everything's better, right? Fingers crossed. I will say that yesterday we got the news that Matt Pinfield came out of his 2-month coma. So he's alive and getting better. The old 120 Minutes guy, MTV VJ.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Right? He would host that 120 Minutes, which was usually too heavy, but every now and then would have something on the cusp, some Soundgarden or whatever that I liked. And I got to say, I'm jealous of a 2-month coma.
Yeah, I know, right?
Let me have one.
Only. Can you bottle that?
I know. If you could set me up for 2 months, let me do 46.
Start a business, dude.
Right, but we're here with the crew, the cohorts. Bjorn, what's up, Bjorn?
What's up?
Bjorn RG, Bjorn Ryan Gorman.
Yep.
Nailed it. Right, I've known you for 2 years. Your name is Randall?
Yep.
Randall Lawrence.
Talking about nailing it. God damn. Could not be more correct. Hold on while I set an edit point for that shitty cut that I just made.
No, that's it's fine, Randall. We'll be okay. Am I saying that right?
Randall.
Is Randall Lawrence another one of our cohorts, right?
Yep.
These are it's the 3 of us. This is a no guest episode. We keep biffing we're banking them, as you could tell. So this is our Gene Hackman episode.
A little
late. We wanted to wait to record it till we got some more information about what happened. Got that information. Didn't make it better.
Nope, didn't.
Made
it a lot worse.
Right, so if you guys remember, about 3 months ago, Gene Hackman died. It was a real bummer.
You shouldn't be laughing at that.
That's not the bad part of what we're about to talk about. That's the actual funny part.
Oh no, we're not talking about the bad part. Yeah. We're gonna talk about Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman retired in 2003 and then just fucked right off, and that's great. I admire him for that. There was no there was no Scorsese Netflix movie that talked him out of retirement. Nothing like that. It is him and Sean Connery decided that's it and never made another movie, and that's admirable. And we're at a point where, a lot of people 80 years old or so should think about bagging it.
I mean, Nicholson did too.
Nicholson? Right, but at least you would see Nicholson sometimes like Lakers games or whatever.
Yeah. Hackman fucked all the way off. I mean, it's tough to know if Hackman fucked off because he wanted to or because it was starting.
No, he fucked off because he wanted to, because the first 10 years or whatever that he was out of the limelight, he wrote 3 books.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
Novels, like Westerns,
cool.
Louis L'Amour.
Of course.
Shit.
Are they good?
I didn't read them, but I didn't even know about them until, the news broke and I was reading about all that stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
Right, the Gene Hackman Westerns don't show up on my Gray Man. Maybe you might also you like Jack Reacher, maybe you'll like this lonesome Gene. Epic. But that's I'm impressed with it. We all probably wish that somehow Welcome to Mooseport would have been released before Runaway Jury. Runaway Jury would have been a much better last movie because it's actually a good movie. It's a shockingly good movie for being an overlooked. It's the last Grisham movie, and the 3rd Grisham movie Gene Hackman was in. I never saw The Chamber. I read the book for The Chamber, and even at, like, that book came out, I was like 16 or 17. I read that book. And at that age, still in high school, I could see what page he was on when he sold the movie rights.
Oh, really?
Right, because about halfway through, suddenly things just, there are storylines that never get wrapped up. There's things that happen that should have had another thing happen that just don't. He just got that bag. It was like, let's fucking finish this one. I got another one. I got one about baseball or whatever.
Just wrap it up.
So I never wanted to see it. It also, Chris O'Donnell was the main guy.
Oof.
And Chris O'Donnell is replacement level, everything. He would be good as a spy or a con man. He's got that. He's like, he's good looking enough to not immediately distrust on sight.
Right.
But also immediately forgettable. So he'd be good at those roles.
Mm-hmm.
But not the ones he had. But, this isn't about Chris O'Donnell. We're going to talk about Gene Hackman. And the movie we're doing today is called Narrow Margin. Mid-tier Gene Hackman between the hits.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We talked during the package episode about how he turned down those blockbusters, those 70s blockbusters, because he got mad about that Scarecrow movie bombing. So he's like, I'll just do the ones that pay me. Like, he pulled a full Michael Caine. And so it was basically from 75 to 92, he just chose movies that paid the most.
Mm-hmm.
So, and for the most part, he's a real floor raiser. These movies could be terrible. But if Gene Hackman's in, it's going to be it can't really be worse than okay. Right? It might be a little boring, a little slow or whatever. But if Hackman's in it,
I don't know, Bjorn. Why don't you tell us about what you thought about the package?
Didn't like it.
Yeah.
Hated it.
Yeah. People hate it. I'm not right.
I think he raised the floor on Superman.
Imagine how terrible the package is if that's not him.
That's true. It'd be so much worse.
Right? What if that movie is John Voight and fucking the guy that's not the not Blue Jean guy from Shakedown.
Yeah.
So Peter Weller.
Peter Weller.
Right? Imagine it's those two guys. The package is dog shit.
It's terrible.
Right?
So
Hackman and Tommy Lee Jones raised the floor.
Yeah.
Fair.
Like that's what I mean. Like some of them are fine, and I like them. I like a lot of them. But this movie in particular, Hackman raises the floor.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good movie on its own, but having Hackman in it makes it really watchable. I like your Superman thing.
I really think I just watched the first Superman. It would be unwatchable without him in it.
Honestly, yes.
It would be so bad. Because Brando doesn't care. Like he clearly, and then I read a bunch of stuff. He just he really didn't care, and he got paid like $14 million for like 10 minutes of screen time.
Maybe 10 minutes of screen time. That's crazy.
And he made them roll on the not audition, like the early takes on the rehearsals, and then was just like, I think that was good. I'll be in my trailer, and people were like, what? You didn't even.
Wow.
He read a lot of his lines. Like they would just put him there. They put him on the kid for his speech, and he just read them. And then he got paid way too much money.
Right?
That.
Who did I? Emo Phillips. I saw Emo Phillips once, right? He wrote his entire set list onto his Starbucks cup. I just had that, so it was like facing him on the table and whatever. So he had it all just set up so that people couldn't see it, but I knew it was there.
Yeah.
It's fun when that happens.
It is.
Joan Rivers would have her cue cards on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The guy that played Coach on Cheers would write his lines. Like he had lines written on the set.
Oh, really?
Right, he would stick up because he was old and his memory was going. So
not Craig T. Nelson.
Not Coach from Coach. Coach from Cheers.
Coach from Cheers.
Right. So Hackman is probably, I don't know, he probably wouldn't say it because Brando had like a reputation because he had done great stuff already, and then he got that reputation and then coasted.
Mm-hmm.
So that was his coasting part. But in that movie, Hackman gives the best performance.
Oh, for sure.
the Christopher Reeves is fine. It looks like Superman, gives off Superman vibes.
Yeah.
Nails the Superman role. Superman, you don't need to be a good actor to be Superman.
No,
Superman as a character is a little wooden.
Yeah.
To me. I also he was never my thing because it was just like perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Too hard to kill. Or, the one thing that could kill him is just an invented thing.
Yeah.
And if you had that, you could beat him. And if you don't, you couldn't. Right?
It's kind of boring.
Right. Kind of boring. Hackman was great. Brando.
There's some crazy shit in that movie that could not make it into a movie now.
No. I've been ratioed on Threads twice. Where you get more comments and likes or whatever.
Mm.
And one was because I said something about the cheap airlines. Like the reason like people are all these freakouts on airlines is because they cut the price enough that people that would take a bus are not taking planes, and you're getting Greyhound behavior on airplanes.
On airplanes.
And then all these lunatics are just like, you're elitist. I'm like, have you ridden in a bus across the country? I have. Yeah. I've stopped outside. I've been on a Greyhound bus when it stops outside a prison and picks up 14 people, and 2 of them decide that they want to fuck with me just because I'm reading a book, and then the 10 of the other ones are just like, what the fuck? He's just reading a book. Like I've I've done it. I'm not elitist.
Yeah.
I'll ride a bus now. Like I'm just pointing it out, and I'm not wrong, but
yeah.
And then the other one was when I said I thought it was stupid that Brando had the Superman S in Superman, because that was his idea. When he agreed to be in Superman, he demanded that his character, Superman dad, whatever, Jor-El, what's his name?
Jor-El.
Yeah. He demanded that he get to wear the Superman S also, so they invented the family crest idea for the movie because he also wanted to wear a Superman shirt. That's where it comes from. It wasn't in any of the previous stuff.
Huh. So
that's why he's got that logo on. The lady's got it on. The other people that are in that scene have different logos on their shirts. Like that wasn't supposed to be like that. They were just going to be like that. I mean, that kind of looks like when Bill and Ted land in the future or whatever. Like that futuristic thing.
Right.
And it should have just been all clean like that. But because he wanted the S,
had to have it.
And man, people were like, it's not dumb. It's because of it. Is like, you're saying all the things that they made up because he said, I want to wear a Superman shirt.
Yeah.
Right.
People do it all the time where they go, you just went back one step. When if you take one more step, you'll realize that what I said was correct. It is dumb. They did a great job working it into the movie so it wouldn't be as dumb.
Right.
But it is dumb that he was like, terrible. I want to wear a Superman shirt. And now it's a crest?
Yeah.
Oh, we're just lucky that it's the same initial as his name, Superman.
Right.
I have one more thing I want to say about Superman 1.
Oh, we're not done talking about
Superman. Cool. After watching it, I realized that I feel like Lois Lane is in a Final Destination movie. Because if you take away Superman, she's gonna die so many times. Like it's crazy ways. It's like Final Destination is just Lois's life without Superman showing up. It's just Devon Sawa showing up instead and being like, hey, maybe don't get on that airplane or don't get on that helicopter. Maybe let's take this block instead of this one. There's a mugger over here. Like he literally she gets shot, but he catches the bullet.
Right? Her car falls into that man-made earthquake.
Yeah.
Because he bought all this land that he wanted to be.
Yeah, it's Final Destination.
Like oceanfront land, but it wasn't. So he's like, I'm going to break off. Anyway, Superman's a real story. One of my favorite stories from Superman is Gene Hackman did not want to shave his mustache. So Richard Donner, the director, was like, you have to shave your mustache. Like, because he'd already conceded the no skull cap thing. So that's why Lex Luthor's not shaved head. But he's like, you got to shave the mustache. And he goes, I'll make you a deal. If you shave your mustache, I'll shave my mustache. So Gene Hackman was like, okay. So he shows up on set. Donner still has his mustache. And Gene Hackman goes, you said you would shave your mustache if I shave mine. And Donner goes, okay. And then he just peeled it off. It was a fake mustache.
The whole time.
The whole time he pretended to have one so he could have something to trade. That's pretty fun.
That is fun.
I also read that because he wouldn't do the skull cap, he wouldn't do the bald thing. They had hair and makeup make his hair look like a toupee. Mm-hmm. Like the way they styled it, the whole movie is they made it look like super fake. Like it could just fall off, like the way they cut it and styled it. I thought that was kind of brilliant. Because it awesome. Straight up does look like a toupee.
Yeah.
And it actually kind of makes sense that character would have a toupee.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Because that Superman 1 character is almost like a Tim Burton style wacky.
Yeah.
So him having that kind of vanity makes sense.
Yeah, he definitely has a lot of that Willy Wonka energy.
Yeah.
It's just under the city.
It's right, and that was so. Superman is one of the ones after he turned down the blockbusters where he still like got to be in a blockbuster. They paid Marlon Brando a fucking bag, but had enough left over for Hackman to say yes.
And he got royalties for that movie too.
That's wild. Marlon Brando, man, what a guy! What a fucking coaster.
He filmed like one day.
But that's incredible. That's so...
$14 million for a day.
And he's in 2 movies, too. I think he's in the second one.
Right. This is a joke for nobody, but if you get it, you'll really like it. Marlon Brando is the Anthony Rendon of actors. The guy that he did enough good stuff to sign a huge contract. Anthony Rendon was like an all-star baseball player, then signed with the Angels for like $500 million or whatever, and basically hasn't played since.
Oh,
like
wow.
3 years, he's just been hurt. He doesn't do anything. But contracts are guaranteed, so he's just making that dough. He's the Marlon Brando of the Major League Baseball. Maybe that's what MLB stands for. What's Marlon Brando's middle name?
Fucking
Luigi.
Larry.
Maybe it is Larry.
I'm fine.
Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
Never MLB. Marlon Brando. We nailed it. We don't have to look it up. Oh. I would prefer not to know.
Yeah, just leave it in the
unknown. Marlon Brando is correct.
People scream in the comments.
You can tell me after. We'll just drive everybody crazy. As this whole segment has done already, because there's not a chance anybody here knows who Anthony Rendon is. Troy's listening and he'll be like, that was pretty good. So that's a joke for Troy. I said nobody. It's a joke for Troy.
It's for one person.
And, it's funny you said that, and I both immediately like 2/3 of the room. No.
Nobody even in this room.
No.
Right? I knew it. I knew it when that's why I said it, because I was like, you guys aren't even going to know what I'm talking about.
There hasn't been a Netflix documentary about it yet, so I don't know. Not yet. It's like all the stuff I know about sports is me watching these. It's like,
this will be an Untold at some point. They'll make an Untold. Anthony Rendon took all their money.
Sounds great.
He's basically why Shohei left, or why they couldn't afford to keep him. He was always going to leave because I can't imagine. Who's an Angels fan? Nobody. Mid-tier Gene Hackman. That's what we're talking about.
Yep.
This is towards the end of it. 1990, this movie came out. His career is remarkable. The reputation and the career he had after turning down those movies in the 70s. But it wasn't until Unforgiven that he really got back into high profile, big deal shit. Other than just, hey, a Gene Hackman movie's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
But then, Unforgiven, The Firm, Enemy of the State, Crimson Tide, that shit really picked up, and he's great in all of it. He's great in everything. He's great in this.
Mm-hmm.
He really, I hadn't noticed. Sorry, I'm going to talk about Superman one more time. But I was watching, I was like, this is unwatchable. And then he shows up and he just has it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just the lines aren't even good, but the text is terrible, but what he does with it is just brilliant.
Yep.
He's so memorable in Bonnie and Clyde too. He's not in much of Bonnie and Clyde, but in that movie with Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty, Hackman shows up and you're like, oh, who's that? At that point, if we're watching it in the theater, you'd be like, who is that?
Was that Sam Jackson in The Package, or what movie was that? Where he's in the opening and nowhere else?
That's Shakedown.
No, that's Sea of Love.
Sea of Love.
Sea of Love. Okay. Yeah,
one of those.
It's definitely.
They're all starting to really.
You're right. It's definitely Sea of Love. Right, a movie star pops up before he's a movie star.
Right.
But Hackman was right there.
Which, arguably, you could say that with him in Jurassic Park, too. I know he had already done stuff, but he was not Sam Jackson in Jurassic Park.
Hang on to your butts.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't Sam Jackson until Pulp Fiction. But
yeah.
His turn in Do the Right Thing, incredible. Mm-hmm. The radio guy, That's the Truth. Ruth, even
Black
even when he shows up in
Snakes on a Plane.
That's a lot of snake movies.
It's at least 2.
I can't believe I just rattled off 2.
He shows up for one
that's
scene
a deep
in
cut joke.
Coming to America also.
Snake joke.
And still kind of pops.
I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, he is in Coming to America.
He robs the restaurant, and Akeem takes the mop handle and fights him with the mop handle.
Okay.
But even then, you're just like, oh, this guy, whoever this guy is, I want to see this guy. Right? He had that, like. So there's a bunch of forgettable Hackman movies in general. Not to me. Not love
to you.
The mid-tier Hackman. This movie, Narrow Margin, is, I think, the premier version of what this is. I like it better than The Package.
I liked it better than The Package.
I would say I like this better than almost everything we've done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You had a couple of texts where I was like, oh man, I can't. It was almost so much where I was like, he's fucking with me. You're sending me shit like, this is the best movie I've ever seen. I'm like, Randy, you got hacked, bro. Somebody stole your phone. But somehow knows enough about you to know that we have a movie podcast.
They're just like reading back and like,
right. Hey,
a
fan of our show stole your phone. That's how they know what the group threat's called. But yeah, I really like this movie, and here we go. I'm going to put it in context. This movie came out on September 21st, 1990. It debuted at number 4. The number 1 movie that week was Goodfellas.
Okay.
Then Postcards from the Edge, which I believe also features Gene Hackman.
That's really?
Yeah. Ghost is number 3. Then Narrow Margin. Then something called Funny About Love. I've never even heard of that. Death Warrant. So an early Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Flatliners.
That's Joel Schumacher, right?
Right. Shot by Jan de Bont. Troy's laughing his ass off right now. This is there is, you guys see Popstar?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So Bill Hader plays like the roadie guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they're doing the scene where they interview him and he's like, what I really like to do is flatline. From the movie Flatliners. Joel Schumacher, direct, shot by Jan de Bont. That part of Popstar is so funny that it makes me want to watch Flatliners. I never saw it because I was 12. On September 21st, 1990, I was 12. And a movie about people dying for a little bit. Not for me.
Not for you.
Sure.
They remade it in the 2000s, right?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
It's pretty. They made it within the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I'll never see that one. Who cares? But
I've seen
I might watch that one.
Recently, for some reason. I don't know.
Is the original good?
Because
Joel Schumacher can.
It's probably pretty good. I mean,
I liked it.
Kiefer Sutherland's in it. Oliver Platt, Julia Roberts.
Oh, I didn't watch the new one. I watched the old one recently. Like it just popped up on like a suggested thing, and I was like, "Oh, this seems cool."
Right, because the remake, I would imagine this movie feels like, especially at the time, I definitely would have known this, but the remake, this movie feels like Flatliners feels like it would be dark. But watching Joel Schumacher movies are not dark.
It's it's kind of like
colorful and
it's kind of it's almost more thriller and less.
Yeah,
it's like kind of it's not or like action.
Is it better than Batman and Robin?
I don't know how to say.
Wait, I'm like, which one is that? Yes, for sure.
Okay.
It is better because it's not so cartoony.
Okay.
Let me ask you this about Batman and Robin: if the suit doesn't have nips and Chris O'Donnell's not in it, how bad is that movie?
I mean,
it's 50% better.
That is almost Batman Forever, in which case it's way better.
Yeah, it's way better. I like the villains, and it's one of those weird ones where like I kind of don't think the villains are wrong. Right, Mr. Freeze is he's like trying to combat global warming, and the Poison Ivy is
almost all of the villains in the Batman universe are right because they just want to kill billionaires.
Well, except for the Joker. Right?
He just wants complete chaos.
The Joker's a chaos agent. There's the true crazies.
Right.
But then, Bane. I'm on board with Bane until he starts shooting up the streets.
Yeah. Right.
Or whatever. And then he locks all the cops in a tunnel but doesn't kill him. Weak.
Yeah. The original Flatliners had Kiefer Sutherland, Kevin Bacon, Julia Roberts, William Baldwin, Oliver Platt. It's
Damn, that's stacked.
It's like a pretty stacked.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I enjoyed it like as a recent watch, and I had watched the new one too, but it has Elliot Page in it as the top bill on it. Diego Luna. I don't know who that is.
Diego Luna is
James Norton.
Andor.
Oh, and
Diego Luna is that dude, Cassian Andor.
Yeah.
From the TV show Andor, the hit Disney Plus. We'll talk about that in our other pod.
But Kiefer Sutherland's in it and stuff. Yeah. I don't know.
Right, so
sorry,
4,
Flatliners.
5, 6, 7, 8. The eight on the list that week was Presumed Innocent. Not a bad movie. I didn't see the miniseries that Apple TV put out, but that's a Harrison Ford movie, Bonnie Bedelia, murder, mystery, court thriller thing. Pretty good. Darkman. That's dope. We'll do Darkman someday. Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson.
I'm starting to really come to like him a
that
lot.
one, for me, is filed under the same folder as Spawn. Like, those two, for some reason, are just...
Yeah. Like,
I can't remember the plots of either of them perfectly, but they're kind of in the same folder in my brain.
Spawn stuff.
Right? It's like weirdo comic book movie.
Yeah.
But not, like, there was like this one and then the thing you were saying, like, those seem in the same era.
Yeah.
Then, then there's like, they made The Phantom and The Shadow, and it's like, those are just 40s, weirdo 40s things, whatever. Number 10 movie that week is called Hardware.
The Hardware.
No idea what that is. And then I wrote to 12 just because I find this interesting.
Mm-hmm.
11 was Men at Work, and 12 was Young Guns 2. So Emilio having a pretty good week. This movie, Narrow Margin, stars, first of all, should have been top billed, was A Train. But
Not that.
Uncredited Train. Then it stars Gene Hackman, Ann Archer, James Sicking, which nobody knows off the top really, but he was Doogie Howser's father on the Doogie Howser show. And he was the FBI director in a couple of Grisham movies. Like all those books had the same FBI director.
Mm-hmm.
Voiles, I think, or something like that. Doyles, some last name like that. But he played that guy.
The Sam Jackson character for the Grisham novels.
Right, there was a couple of Michael Bay movies in a row that had a president and it was the same guy.
Mm.
And then he had to have a different guy do Pearl Harbor because it was older. And and real, so we know that guy's name. You can't just have the same guy from The Rock and Armageddon. Do that. Then it stars the Walshes, unrelated, J.T. Walsh and M. Emmett Walsh. And Harris Yulin's in it. He's last billed, but he's kind of the driver of the plot. He plays the gangster, Leo Watts.
Okay.
J.T. Walsh and M. Emmett Walsh are always a welcome sight.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's his name? Roger Ebert had the M. Emmett Walsh rule of like, no movie could be terrible if he's in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was him and another guy. I can't remember the other guy, but I think the same is true with J.T. Walsh. He's in a lot of movies I like. This is the only movie where they're in together. Share no scenes. Roger Ebert gave this movie 1.5 stars.
Boo.
What?
Boo.
Right? We'll talk a little bit about the Ebert review in a second. IMDb 6.6. That feels a little
That's still too
low,
low,
but closer than 1.5. Rotten Tomato critic score 63%, and audience score is 51%. It's weird.
Yeah, they're flipped this time.
I feel like it should have a higher. With Ebert giving it such a bad score, it definitely feels like the critic should have a lower. But Ebert used his idiot. It's an idiot plot. He's got this thing he was like, this is a movie that only happens because everyone's an idiot. And I don't want to burst any bubbles, but he's not
It's not wrong.
Like when you break it down, and you could do this to any movie if you want, and it seems like something a hater would do, but it does start with some dumb shit things like, how did one helicopter not know there was a second helicopter right behind it?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. But I don't care about that, Roger Ebert.
Why didn't the hitman do more than step into the dark room?
Yeah. A lot of stuff. Everybody's kind of an idiot, keeps it going. But also, it could almost be any movie, too.
Yeah, it really can be. Any plot is set up by someone's failure to do something.
And people are dumb.
Yeah.
So just because it's an idiot plot doesn't mean it's not believable.
I've done dumber shit than people in this movie have done.
Or I don't know if I've ever... on there's probably a mole in your organization.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they figured that out.
Tell
the
them.
First chance they had to figure it out.
You don't think they would have figured it out at first?
Well,
like, how did they know that they were there?
That's what I mean. Like, that's how he figured out. Like, when they got followed or whatever, he was like, there must be a leak.
Yeah.
He just didn't know who. So he called, like, the guy he calls is the guy he is friends with.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know who the leak is. He did, before they left even, when he's in the room with the actual district attorney, he does throw a little of that at him. Like, we had this guy a year ago, and you dragged your feet. So he did have some level of, something's not right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, we'll get to it. This is a remake of a movie from 1952. It's directed, I'm not going to talk about that one. I haven't seen it or looked it up at all, but I just know that.
I saw it's in black and white. That's all I saw.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be, right? Nobody's going to colorize the original narrow margin. This movie was directed by Peter Hyams, he's directed, a bunch of movies, 20, 25 movies or whatever. And we'll probably end up doing 10 or 12 on here.
And not only directed it, wrote it, and shot it. He was the DP for this.
Oh, wow.
Right? Is an early Robert Rodriguez. Kevin Smith type. Did it all.
And it honestly was very impressive.
Yeah. Peter Hyams did, he's done some cool, like, sci-fi stuff. He did two Jean-Claude Van Damme movies in a row. He did Time Cop and Sudden Death. He did 2010, the sequel to 2001.
Yeah.
He did a movie called Outland that stars Sean Connery that we will definitely do on here. I was hoping to do it soon, but it'd be weird to do back-to-back Peter Hyams unless you guys don't think so, and then we can just do it next. All right, let's do Outland next.
Okay.
But that's got Sean Connery's in it, and it's a movie. Peter Boyle, James Sicking's in it.
Cool.
You'll see him again. It's a remake of High Noon, but set on a space station mining operation.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Right, so I enjoy it. It's a used future type thing, which is my favorite subgenre of movies. Used future. It's basically you get to go to space, but only for work.
Oh,
right. It's like Star Trek is not, but Alien is.
And then like all of the non-Empire roles in Star Wars.
Yeah. All the Rebel stuff is used future. All the Empire stuff is not. Gotcha. It's all clean and crisp and whatever. But I haven't found too many of these, but people want to email suggestions. saturdayafternoonmovieclub@gmail.com.
Emails. We gotta do emails.
Yeah, we'll do emails. I just remember, we're already talking about it.
No, I know. It's now
in the air.
It's in the air.
Right, I like those movies. I think Prometheus might not be, but the rest of the aliens are.
What? Oh, Used Future?
Used Future, right. So that's what Outland is. It's kind of dingy and dirty, but in space. Mm-hmm. It's neat. And Sean Connery is the sheriff of this thing. Whatever, it's a Gary Cooper role, whatever.
So it's more Western style?
No,
it's be that?
No, it's no. Used Future and the Western thing are separate. Okay. This is a Used Future version remake of High Noon.
Okay.
He also did Running Scared, which we're definitely going to do, the Billy Crystal, Gregory Hines buddy cop movie.
Yeah.
He directed that. So he just directs these like sci-fi stuff. Jean-Claude Van Damme, the sequel to 2001, which the fucking balls to be like, oh yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, I'll follow Kubrick.
That's pretty wild. Good for him.
That's like an open micer. That's like, yeah. I'll close the show. I got this.
I mean,
I can talk for 30 minutes.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do a bunch of Peter Hyams movies. I'm a fan of his thing.
Did he do Stolen Valor? I'm kidding. I'm just joking. Based on the title.
Oh wait, hang on. Never. I was thinking of a movie called. There's a Gene Hackman movie called Uncommon Valor.
Uncommon Valor, yeah. That's where that came into my brain.
Maybe it did. I don't know who directed that. I know Swayze's in it, and it's a early '80s Vietnam POW movie. So that's Peter Hyams. So I'm excited to do more Peter Hyams movies.
Yeah,
sounds like we're doing back to back.
Yeah, let's do it.
Outland is great.
I'm into it.
So let us get to Randy.
Yes.
Randall Lawrence is going to do.
I'm going to recap us.
I appreciate, as someone whose name is fucked up all the time, I appreciate being on the other side of it for a second.
Right. It's only, my name gets fucked up a lot too. The only time I ever do it is for names that just can't.
Yeah.
Like nobody would ever fuck your name up. So, I mean, it's Randall Lawrence. So it's.
Did you ever rock the Vans though? The Jeff Rallies? Were you like, yeah?
No, I didn't even. I don't even know what you're talking about. There was
a professional skateboarder named Jeff Rally, spelled the way you spell it, and they were like one of the hottest Vans for the longest time. I'm sure they still make them.
Whoa! All right, I'll look those up.
You should get a pair of Jeff Rallies.
We'll check those out on the break. Let's do. We've been recording for a long time.
Yeah.
Should we?
We've been going for.
It's
been about 40 minutes.
We haven't even got to the recap yet.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We got it.
Man, I think we should take a break. Just a shorty.
Welcome back. Okay, so.
Welcome back from what?
Okay, now it all stays in.
Right, I didn't mean to interrupt. Let's go.
All right. A woman played by Ann Archer, who I'm going to refer to as Mrs. Reynolds, if you know, you know, meets a man, J.T. Walsh, for a blind date at a hotel that he is apparently staying at. Halfway through their date, he gets a phone call from a quote-unquote anxious client that he has to return up in his room. He innocuously enough invites her up, as the call may take a little while. Upon entering, she's in the restroom. While he returns the call, while she's in the bathroom, the man is visited by his employer, Leo Watts, played by Harris Yulin, and another sharp-dressed man. Take a seat on the couch, we discover that the man is Mr. Watts' lawyer, who stole from Mr. Watts to pay back quote-unquote investment debt. Watts, mad about the theft, showed up and executes an execution on his lawyer, while Mrs. Reynolds quietly watches from the bathroom. After the weakest attempt to search the room for witnesses, Mr. Watts and the hitman leave quietly, with Mrs. Reynolds leaving shortly after.
They do just like, he just scans the dark room and is like, that's probably
That's
all.
good.
There's no closet or corner.
That
or
shot is...
Or rest of the room. That's my favorite shot of the movie.
Mine too. I wrote it down.
Yeah.
I almost texted
holy
you.
Fucking shit. What a beautiful shot.
Such a good shot.
We'll get back to that.
Sorry.
No.
The murder happened.
The murder happens.
Then we cut to a police station where our hero, Robert Caulfield, played by Gene Hackman, and L.A. Sergeant Benty, played by Emma Walsh, tell their captain that the prints they found on the sink in the bathroom of the lawyer's hotel room were traced back to Mrs. Reynolds, and they now know her whereabouts. At the extreme disapproval of his superior, Caulfield and Benty charter a helicopter to fly to the Canadian wilderness, right? They're in Canada. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like way north of Vancouver.
Right.
By Lake Louise.
Yes.
Which may or may not be real. I didn't.
It is real. I've been there.
Israel.
It is real.
It's also a ski area.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So anyway, Mrs. Reynolds is hiding in the Canadian wilderness in a cabin. Little do they know, the quiet little agent sitting in the superior's office when they barged in has a dirty little secret. Benty and Caulfield fly to Mrs. Reynolds' cabin to get her to fly back to L.A. to testify against Leo Watts for the murder that she had witnessed. And we also find out he is highly sought after by the DA for unidentified crimes.
Right, he's Hackman's white whale.
Yeah.
This guy's a gangster. You've been trying to get him.
They don't say why. He's just bad, but he also kills somebody. So
he almost had him a year ago.
Yeah.
But the district attorney drug his feet.
Mm-hmm.
Blah blah blah. Lawyer stuff. Patents.
Lawyer patents.
She refuses to leave, with them, but then they are attacked by a rogue helicopter that followed the chartered flight by Caulfield.
Hold on, I don't want to. I almost said I don't want to interrupt, but I absolutely do want to interrupt. We don't see the plane. We see the second leg of their journey is in a helicopter.
Yes.
They're taking a helicopter to the cabin and are being followed by another helicopter
that we don't see.
That's basically right behind them that we don't see and nobody sees. Their helicopter, like, how does I've been in a helicopter. You would know. I feel like you would know. The pilot would at least know there's another aircraft nearby.
Right.
That's important information.
Yeah, because they have to tell him. Oh, I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there was a line in that chopper flight where he's like, "Do we have to fly so low?" And the guy was like, "No, the ground is just real high."
Yeah.
Like, that was funny.
That was funny.
Because they're in the mountains, the Rockies of northern Canada.
The Canadian Rockies.
Yeah, they keep going. They don't just stop at the border.
Nope. They don't.
The arbitrary line that was drawn by, it's a made up line. Sorry.
Aren't they all? So in the attack, Benty is killed. Caulfield and Mrs. Reynolds narrowly escape via a covered Ford Bronco, I think. And what I can only describe as, honestly, one of the best car chases I've seen in any movie.
Yeah, it's the helicopter's chasing them. They're driving a Bronco through the northern Canadian version of the 10. It was the early OJ.
Yeah.
But, it was like 4 years before the OJ thing. But,
yeah.
Really.
It's kind of the Canadian version of
it.
They
really copied it. Right, the Canadian version. A lot of woods.
A lot of woods.
A lot of fallen trees.
A lot of really fucking cool shots.
And no Steadicam.
No Steadicam.
Like the fact that it's just like hooked to the thing and it's bouncing as much as...
Yeah.
Like that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a really immersive chase.
Roger Ebert said it was too long.
Okay, well,
and
fuck him.
Precursor to the rest of the movie for things being too long. Sometimes something tells me that Roger Ebert had to piss. This feels very
hour
much
and
like
30 minutes.
It's the third movie he watched that day, and all he ate was hot dogs. And now he's like trying to fight off a public shit, and now his icy's empty. Just didn't care for it. He had already had to sit through Funny About Love. And whatever Hardware was, and now he's watching Narrow Margin. Like, this movie sucks. Does it suck, or do you just have to poop? Just go poop, Raj. Because I really like that too. Like,
it was a great chase scene.
It was great.
They don't go over that cliff. They stop perfectly.
Oh man, so close. Whoa, so scary.
Thank God the movie kept happening.
Oh, I know. It was so short.
Just go off.
I would have been fine with it because we're 25 minutes into this movie and both Walshes are dead. Come on.
I know.
Bleh. If you're going to put two Walshes in the movie and kill them both off, you got to keep one of them around.
Come on.
We need a Chekhov's Walsh.
Yeah, right? They don't even come back. There's no Chekhov anything in this movie.
There's a Chekhov train.
There was. Yeah.
They're like, look, a train. That's the rest of the movie.
Speaking of which, when we get to the end, I want to address what we talked about when we were talking about this movie last time, because I think it's going to be really funny. Okay, so narrowly escape, best car chase. During the chase, they notice a train slowing down as if entering a nearby station, and haul ass to said station to flee their pursuers. They successfully make it to the station, haggle and cheat their way into their own cabin, and board the train. From there...
Sorry to interrupt again. Not really. That's just how you do it. The getting the car, so funny. The old couple in front of them get the last sleeper car or private car, and then he's like, my wife and I, and she's like, I'm pregnant. No, not even.
I thought she puts her arm in her shirt.
Yeah, she did, but that's it.
To give her the bump.
She just like kind of is just like, look, like pulls her shirt out.
Yeah,
Look, I'm almost. If I go into labor, I have to lay down.
It's like the equivalent of a middle schooler pulling their shirt out and saying they have boobs.
I love that old couple is like, we just have the car. We'll get it. You can have our car. We'll take this other thing. And then he calls them young.
Mm-hmm.
He refers to them as a young couple.
Mm-hmm.
This is in 1990.
Kids.
This year it's 2025. Gene Hackman just passed away at the age of 95. 1990 was 35 years ago, which means this man called a 60-year-old young. A young couple. Even if
it was jarring.
But even if those people are in their 80s, you're still not going to call a 60-year-old young.
I think he's like, you kids take it.
Yes, it's very much like, what are you talking about? Like, he's younger than you, but he's definitely not young. I mean, she's probably in her 30s. So if they were married, that's gross. Whatever. It's a real Bill Belichick sitch. It's 2 sports references. I'm very sorry.
Hey.
Gene Hackman was a sports fan.
Big sports guy.
We're making this for Gene. What's up? Yeah, I've had that in my head of I don't want to miss that. It's so funny to call it. He's 60.
Yeah.
60 years old. Mm-hmm. You kids enjoy. You're like, what? Are you bringing your grandkids, Gene? Is your granddaughter about to have a baby? Is that what's going on here? But yeah, they make the train. And this is how you know Gene Hackman spent a lot of time in New York City. He got to that station same time as the train.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't get there early, didn't have to dick around on the platform.
No.
He just fucking made that train like he knew what was up.
Got in and got on.
Right, I'm a tourist. I end up standing on those fucking platforms 20 minutes trying to get home. Because I have no idea when these motherfuckers come in.
And here's the thing. I'm very close to the end of the recap because you may be wondering, well, how you're only through the first act. The rest of this is just on the train. So I'm going to finish this. That sounded like I was reading what I wrote, and it wasn't.
You just have your natural speaking cadence sounds like you're reading off a thing.
Yep, I don't know how to take that.
I don't know either. I said it, and I can't tell if it was a burn or not. We could think of it the other way. Your reading cadence is the same as a natural cadence. That's actually what it is, because maybe. Let's see how you do it now. Now you're going to think too hard. It's going to be very robotic.
Oh, for sure. From there. Okay, from there, the movie is just a game of cat and mouse between the 2-5 pursuers, involving a very fun scene of them pulling into a station, and Gene Hackman beats a bad guy up with no pants on, a fat trained cop turned poor bastard, and a fantastic Mr. X single divorcee turned Dennis Hopper at the end of Speed.
Yes.
The movie concludes with all 5 pursuers very likely dying, and Mrs. Reynolds giving her testimony in court in order to bring Watts to justice. And I had to bring this up. I wanted to make sure that I brought up the Dennis Hopper moment, because when we talked about what this movie was, when you said it was what we were going to do, you specifically asked.
Yes.
If it was going to be like the end of Speed.
Is it going to end up on top of a train? I'm like, it's a train movie. Someone's going to die on the top of the train. Someone's not going to see a tunnel, and they're going to die. And you guys were like, whatever, Bjorn.
No, I had to see it, so I couldn't say anything. Jeff was like, no. Yeah, that's not what happens.
I stood up. I was like, yes! She is kind of tall.
I'll admit right now, I lied to you. I didn't want to say yes because why would you? I don't want to spoil it, so I lied. Yes, it ends up. Of course, it's on a train, so they're going to end up on top.
Of course, it's Chekhov's train.
It's Chekhov's top of the
top
train.
of the train.
We
they
see
show
the
it a
top
bunch of times.
You see the top of that train so fucking much.
Right? You can't show the top without climbing up there in the third. They showed it in the first. You got to climb up in the third.
We're in the Canadian Rockies. There's a lot of tunnels.
We figured it out. It was a Chekhov's, and it is actually top of train. It's not train. It's top of train.
Top of train.
Amazing. I can't believe, because I was watching it looking for it and I didn't know it until right now. We're talking about it. It's Chekhov's top of train. Yep. There's a lot of cool shit. There's a lot of, it's like Hitchcockian a little bit.
Yeah.
With the, Agatha Christie almost, locked door.
Mm-hmm.
The stop where he sneaks off. That whole thing was very fun.
Very good scene.
There was also
he says compartment a ton.
Yeah.
Right? This is a cell phone movie where Roger Ebert can say whatever he wants about idiot plot. This is definitely, you make this movie 7 years later, you can't make it.
Right.
Or you got to have that be like, oh, there's no service up here in the mountains.
Right.
Yeah, but
or internet on the train.
Yeah, there would have to be some device, some plot armor to cut that out. Because it does have, like, right in the opening scene, the blind date. It just, every time I see it, I'm fascinated. We saw it in Hand That Rocks a Cradle. just like you forget. I remember being like babysitting neighbors' kids and the parents being like, this is the number of the restaurant we're at.
Yeah.
If you need to call. And just the idea of being like, I guess he's at the hotel. And then the hotel knowing who he is, to be like, you have a message. You need to make it's all so wild. And so it honestly seems better. Like that should be how hard it is to get a hold of somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it. I hate how easy I am to get a hold of.
Yes.
I hate how desperate I am to be gotten a hold of.
I hate how
I didn't quite track that, but
I know what he means. I know what he means because it's the inverse, and also it's like a photo negative version of what you said, but it happens from I do both.
Yeah.
I do both. I hate how easy I am to get a hold of, and I also want to be gotten a hold of or whatever.
Yeah.
It's one of those like
yeah.
It's impossible for me to not take my phone, even though I hate it.
Right. But like if someone's trying to get a hold of me, there's a 50-50 shot I'm going to get money.
Right?
You know?
And if someone's trying to get a hold of me, it's a 50-50 shot I've got to pay something.
Yeah, see, we just have different experiences with our phone.
I don't want to get too much into it, but it was the other funny moment that happened with this movie was I was like, before I was about to watch it, I have some personal stuff with some taxes that I owe right now. And my husband, Paul, was just like, just go watch that movie. You'll be fine. Literally, the opening scene is someone owes money and gets murdered. I was like, what the fuck, Geoff? This feels so specific.
You don't owe me money. It'd be crazy if it was the exact same number too.
Like the same amount that is owed. I made a bad investment. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. Like it's. I had no idea. I hate it. It does suck when you're stressed about something and then
it comes up in a movie.
Right when I got divorced, that movie Blue Valentine came out.
Oh.
And there was people I knew that, we all like movies, and that movie was great apparently. And people were like, you gotta go see this movie. I was like, why would I see that? Like, it's about what's happening to me, except it's Ryan Gosling, and I think that his version is going to work out better for him. He could just drown his sorrows in being able to have sex with anybody he wants forever.
Yeah.
At any point, he's Ryan Gosling. I might never have sex again. Nobody. I am unlovable and look like this, right? And he just has to be like, I'm unlovable, but also I'm Ryan Gosling, so I'm likable.
Yeah,
at least, right?
That happened.
I mean, it's sometimes they hit too close. It's not cathartic when it's that close.
When I started my company, Bearskin Underwear, we got sued immediately for like a copyright infringement thing. And I was trying to check out from like the whole situation of hiring lawyers and stuff. And I started watching, it was like season 2 of the show with Kumail. God, now I can't think of what
Silicon Valley.
Same thing happens. I was like, can't, nope. I don't need this I'm trying to not think about what's going on in my life.
Skip to the season finale and see how it works out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay.
It's definitely going to work out as a TV show.
That's true. It is gonna work out. But
everything worked out for those guys on that show except for TJ.
Yeah.
Did you circle back to that show?
I did.
Okay.
I never finished it. I'm really bad at finishing shows. Great. I get usually to about season 3 and I'm just like, I'm over it. Or I just forget and need a new thing, I guess. I don't know.
I'll watch entire seasons and forget I saw it. And then watch it again and be like, I've never seen this. And I totally have.
Yeah.
I am right. My brain is cooked. Right. So much happens on the train. Trains are, I fucking love trains.
They're great plot devices.
I wish there was more of that. I wish taking a train from like here to LA didn't take twice as long as driving.
Okay. So
have you taken a train much? Have you guys done it?
I've taken
Amtrak?
Several trains across Europe. I have only taken a couple here.
Yeah.
But the thing that stood out immediately to me was when he goes to A, there's like a sit-down restaurant dining car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then B, a bar where there's just a bunch of people hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been on a long train thing like that?
No, the Europe ones are commuter.
Yeah.
These ones, the one in this is more like an Amtrak where it did like, I don't know if they do it now, but back then there definitely was, there'd be a smoking car and a bar car and a dining, like
I know that those exist on Amtrak's, but I don't think they do in the way that this movie depicts anymore. At least
no, there's like a snack bar or whatever.
Yeah,
now.
I took the train from Minneapolis to Montana, and so very similar route to this movie's train, just south.
Yeah.
And it is so cool. You get to go through like Glacier National Park, and it's incredible. And there are cars you can go up and you can like look around. There's a dining car. The thing about the dining cars and stuff though is it's such limited space that you can't go to the dining car and sit alone.
Right.
So like I went to the dining car and I remember so vividly I was by myself and I had to sit with other people. And I sat with this, and this is so weird. It was the first time I had ever met a bear couple. So it was these two chubby gay guys that what they did is they both loved trains. And so for their vacations, they would just take Amtrak around the entire country.
That's fucking awesome.
That's awesome.
They're like all our credit cards are Amtrak credit cards, and we just get points, and then we build up vacation, and they just love it. They get to see the whole country, and they just literally loop it, and you get like one of those compartments. I can't say it like him. It's like compartment. Get in your compartment. Oh, it's a different compartment now.
It took me
compartment.
It took me a full moment to realize that you were referencing the movie. I thought
they
you were
ride in a
talking about the way
compartment.
these guys said it.
No, that's how Gene Hackman says it.
Gene Hackman. Oh, you're right. That's
Those compartments.
Yeah,
I
like
thought
those.
I called them sleeper cars, but
Yeah, that's what they're called.
I've never heard it called a compartment, and then never heard it called it that many times.
They say it a lot.
But I had just a regular seat, and I would say if you're gonna do it, go for the compartment because you're sitting in essentially an airplane chair for so many hours.
Right.
But they had, I mean, when I took it, it was like 2000 and maybe 10 or 11, so it was like there was internet and stuff.
And like I've taken the Amtrak up to Seattle and back.
Yeah.
And also on the East Coast from New York to Philly to DC. And they are better now. Like the seats are much more comfortable. But the cool thing about a train is like the seat doesn't like I as a fat guy can sit in those seats and be comfortable.
Yeah, it's a bit bigger.
It's a lot bigger, and like it's also way easier to move through the train.
Yeah.
And no one gives a shit. Like, you can just go to the dining car and no one cares. Whereas, like, with a plane...
Yeah, there's all kinds of...
You go to the bathroom or you sit down, and
Yeah.
anything else you do is fucking weird.
Yeah.
There's also just the pace of the people. I remember the whole experience being really fascinating to me. So, like you were saying, I had to wait. Like, I got there, like, and the train was a little bit late. So I was at the station in Minneapolis for a couple hours at whatever it was, like 3 a.m. when the train goes through. Because it's just running. And in certain areas, the pickup is at this time. And then the next one isn't till that time tomorrow.
Yeah.
And everybody is just so chill.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like air flying where people... air flying.
Right.
It's not like air traffic.
Wow, you are one of my 70-year-old customers from my old
air
job.
flying.
Yeah, it's not a...
Like where everyone's all like freaking out and they're just like... everyone's just like, yeah.
Oh, it is get on, put your shit in the thing, and sit down, and then you're done.
And hang out for 25 hours or whatever
it's
that
so
it
much
is.
nicer. Fuck it.
Right. I took a train from Cincinnati to Philadelphia a few times there and back or whatever, but it would take like 16 or 17 hours.
Yeah.
And it's an 8.5 hour drive.
So
that's the part that I don't like. But man, if especially like in their situation, in this movie they didn't have any other choice.
No.
They got lucky.
Right.
But also, how those guys get from the helicopter onto the train? Where they just have people at the train station? How did this all happen? It's fine.
Well, there's a scene when they're about to board the train. The helicopter comes and lands behind the station.
Oh.
Yeah, that should have been.
That should have been
something. Should have happened about that. There should have been authorities around to be like, "What the fuck."
I want to know what the hiring process of the pilot was for that. They're like, so we're just gonna be hanging out the side of the and just shooting once we get to our destination.
This is a fake gun. That's my dad. I'm pranking my dad.
We're gonna shoot up this cabin. We're gonna follow this other one, but just don't tell them that we're coming.
Oh, that's the helicopter with the cameras. We're making a movie.
They're just, and then they're like, yeah. Oh, can you just follow that, Bronco through the forest while we continue to hang out the side and shoot with our suits?
Right, this is such a good joke. Guys, this is the best prank. You're lucky to be a part of it, Captain.
But don't shoot up the car because we need to chase that. We're gonna shoot up the other helicopter and the cabin.
Right. Then there's a moment in the so the second helicopter shows up, starts shooting the house. The first helicopter's like, "Fuck this, I'm out of here." Just tries to take off. Then he gets shot down. It briefly turns into a remote control toy helicopter.
Yes, I'm so glad you caught that.
Then it comes back into now he just goes straight nosedive.
Nosedives right down.
Why would it would just spin out of it would just do the thing where the bottom part started spinning, and why it's not going to go. Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
I just feel like though, are all pilots just nuts? There's so many movies where people are like, it's like they chartered that flight, like, and they're just like, yeah, go in that
and
go through that tunnel and follow this car into that warehouse.
It looked like the exact same helicopter too. Like they both rented helicopters from the same place.
From the same service, because there's not that many helicopter pilots in that area of BC. I would imagine.
Wherever.
Where does
Lake Louise?
The beginning of this movie take place?
Los Angeles.
It is LA?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's trying to get back to LA. He goes and finds her in the cabin. Now he's trying to get to Vancouver. The train's going to Vancouver.
I asked because in the original, I did look this up, the train's going from Chicago.
Oh, all right. That makes sense.
Then it would be the train that I took.
Mob stuff in the 50s.
I think it's the train I took.
Mm-hmm.
It was all, mob stuff in the 50s. It was weird to have a mob thing in LA because the mobs never really had a LA presence.
Yeah.
The cops.
Where they had the cops too.
Right.
Oh yeah.
There was a movie called Gangster Squad. It's a decent movie. Ryan Gosling's in it. But it's based on a real story about how the cops kept the mob out. And it wasn't because they were good cops, it was because they were bad cops. Like they would fuck them up. Take them up to the top of the Hollywood Hills, kick the shit out of them, just be like, "You're done here. Go back to where you're from and tell them you're done. You don't come to LA, we will fucking kill you." And that kept the mob out.
Damn.
That's for the most part.
They were like, "Let's just go to Las Vegas."
Right.
We'll just go over here.
Let's go over here.
Plenty
we'll
of
be
places.
all right.
But yeah, that's why that guy was in a hotel, I think. Like the lawyer was at a hotel, and it felt like but the way that he was chasing Leo Watts is Leo Watts must be local. Because Gene Hackman's not a federal attorney. He's a
deputy DA.
He's a deputy district attorney in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So, whatever. So there is a mob guy in LA in this movie, and it's Leo Watts.
I wanted to talk about the other cop when they show up to the cabin.
Benty?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mehmet Walsh?
Yep. I hate this type of person. You know what a fridge opener is?
Oh, yeah.
Someone that just comes over to your house, doesn't really ask, just starts rifling through your shit.
Uh-huh.
Fuck him. He deserved to die. I was like, get out of here. He better die. 'Cause I don't like that. And he's like, "Oh, are you sure you don't have any beer?" And then just pops open.
Jesus. She really doesn't have any beer.
Yeah, goes through, "What about in this cabinet?" It's like, what the fuck? You just got here.
I mean, there's lots of...
Get out of here.
Yeah, anybody that does that is...
a psychopath.
Yeah, you're out of pocket. But as far as him being a cop, him doing that in that scene doesn't necessarily mean he does that everywhere.
Right.
That's a thing that cops do to get you scatterbrained.
And actually, that makes sense because
he does
when we first
mention
meet
it.
him, he talks about going and interrogating her friend before she has her first coffee.
Before she has her first cup.
Right. So you do so now he's in there. Now she's thinking about the fridge and the beer. What's this guy doing? Why is he opening all the shit?
Right.
And
it's a scummy cop tactic.
Yeah, it's right. It's not great, but
I don't like it.
No, I don't either. Well, I think what I'm telling you is it's worse than you thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's not that he's a bad person. It's that he's a fucking bad person.
He's a bad person, and he's doing low-level psychological warfare on Ann Archer.
Right.
With this, you don't have beer. But then he opens a bottle of something so cool. Found it. She got a fucking Fanta.
It's like a Coke, a bottled Coke. I was very much paying attention to what he grabbed.
I
was locked in on him. I didn't care what else was going on. I was like, you piece of shit.
I mean, he's always a piece of shit in every movie he's in.
Yeah,
but he's so good at it.
It's great.
Yeah, he plays a real, blood simple Fletch.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
Mehmet Walsh. That's what I'll say from now on because it's easier.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part on the train? I mean, do we even need to? There's a lot of confrontations.
It's like it's like you said about A Few Good Men. It's an action movie with words.
Yeah, it's a talk. Yeah, the fights are talking, and then there's an occasional fight.
Right.
There's occasional times where he pushes someone to their death.
Right.
He never uses a gun. That's interesting.
I don't know
if it's interesting.
Squirt gun.
He uses a squirt gun.
Yeah, but there was multiple times where he could have picked up a real gun and just doesn't. And it comes back to bite him almost immediately.
Or throw them off the train, and he doesn't.
When he walks up behind the guy and then tackles him, I'm like, just push him.
You just push him off.
Oh, yeah.
Just push him.
Yeah, you have
the edge. You had the edge. And
like,
then
you don't need the gun.
Like,
this is
no,
the
I'm
last
going to
guy.
threaten him with a squirt gun.
Yeah, we're
like, what?
I'm going to tackle him, and then we're going to push at each other for a little while until finally somebody gets pushed all the way off.
Right.
Nobody's going to know.
We have to do the thing where we dangle from the edge. He dangles from the edge, and I dangle from him.
And then, have to.
You got to duck a couple of things.
Right. When he had the squirt gun, and they're between cars, and the bad guy's looking out the window, that's another time. Just push him.
Just push him.
Like,
especially that guy climbs like halfway out.
Yeah. You're like, are you really going to you're really trying to arrest these people?
You're going to arrest them.
They're
Which
going
I don't
to
think he has the power to do as a DA
in Canada.
In Canada.
He doesn't have the power to do that in San Francisco. And he's going to try to do it in Canada? What the fuck? The Mounties show up. That fight scene in the bathroom was pretty cool.
That was a great scene.
Where he took his pants off to do he propped him on the shoes.
So quickly.
It looked more real than it should have.
I had theories, which was he found 2 toilet brushes and just stuck them in his pants.
Gross.
Very gross.
I got excited. I was like, we're going to see a Winnie the Pooh fight scene.
Yes,
but
we did, kind of.
If you remember back, and I'm trying to remember if I'm right now, when it does the push-in on the stall, there's sinks against the opposite wall and then nothing else.
Yeah, where is he?
Where the fuck was he hiding?
Yeah. Nobody knows. He was in the ceiling.
He was in the ceiling tiles.
He climbed up there with no pants and just socks. But still his jacket and shirt.
Yeah.
Full fucking weirdo.
Perfectly closed up the ceiling tile behind him. And then, yep.
Yeah, bonks that guy a bunch of times, thinks he won, didn't win, doesn't ever pick up the gun, doesn't empty the gun, doesn't do anything that would help him.
Which, to be fair, he's a DA. He's not a cop. So a lot of the shit might not be second nature to him.
To be fair, he was a 60-year-old in 1990, so there's right? Didn't they say he was a former Marine?
Yeah.
He definitely knows.
Definitely has all of that knowledge.
He's got the skills.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody that age at that time would have, because he fought in World War II.
Yeah.
Gene Hackman, the human, not the character.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he did. He lied. He was like 16 or whatever.
Dang.
Got in.
Damn.
That was back when we hated Nazis as a country. Not individually, we have our own opinions, and everybody listening is probably aware of R3. I like to remind people that the U.S. military has designated Nazis as an enemy of opportunity and has never rescinded that designation. So they are still currently an enemy of opportunity, which means you see one, you do it.
Oh.
That's what that, like, as far as a military
that's wild
designation goes, that's what it is.
Okay.
So, do it that way you will.
Do it what you will.
Feels like a lot of us need to enlist.
Well,
wow.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to change the subject. That shot, though, at the beginning.
Holy fucking
That
shit.
was when I was like, all right.
I was sold.
Okay.
Oh, I was totally sold.
Which one?
When she's hiding and he goes to look in that room, they do like such a cool shot.
It's a 2-shot where they have him. You see him through the door in the back of the room.
No, I'm pretending that the sands are going through the hourglass.
Oh,
We're doing some patents, but I'm hoping to understand this one. So,
you see, we're looking through the doorway out of the bathroom into the main room, and the hitman approaches the door, and the camera moves back and then left a little bit. He comes into the room, and he's silhouetted, and then we see her with just the sliver of her face being lit from the crack of the door.
From the crack, the light coming through the crack.
Such a fucking great shot.
Because
that's great.
There's like tense. It's full shadow drop off too.
Yeah, you get just the smallest sliver of her body.
It's such a good shot that I know what you're talking about now.
And it's like all in camera.
Yeah,
like there's no obviously there's no CGI, but it's all.
There were so many shots, like every night exterior of the train. There was one specifically where the train's coming right at the camera. It catches a flare as it goes by.
Yeah,
and then we just get the light on the windows passing it. This movie was fucking beautiful.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Right? The only times where anything seemed fake or whatever, green screen or however, they wouldn't, it wasn't really, I don't know how they did it back then or if it was green screen, but if, there was a couple of like close-ups of Hackman or Archer on the train where clearly the background, those are separate shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a few,
but the fights or whatever, the fact that they were obviously stunt doubles doesn't bother me because the rest of it looks so good.
Yeah.
Dude,
they were on a train in the woods or whatever.
Yeah.
There's that shot when he's leaving the bathroom and he jumps out the window. That stuntman didn't do any more stunts on this movie. I'm 100%. He takes the hardest fall. His arm is like broken.
That is the worst. I'll say it's the worst movie thing I've seen, but also the most what would actually happen if you did that.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't, it's not graceful. It doesn't even seem like it's safety glass.
Yeah. No.
And he just fucking drops straight down. It's like he just drops straight down, like head first out that window. That's what would happen if you did that.
Yeah.
In the movies, they always let it be more graceful and, you get more lift and it's more straight out and then down. Maybe you even land on your feet or whatever.
Right.
This was just a dumpy old man falling through a window.
Yeah. And then a perfect cut too. It's a tracking cut. So they just track across like a tree and then they just bring the screen so that then Gene Hackman's on the other side. Mm-hmm. Or it's a different person.
Right, Hitchcock.
Like gets
Hitchcock did that. Like that's how they did Rope. The one take Rope.
It's either a really good hidden cut.
It's too long for a whole reel, so to switch reels, somebody would walk past.
Yeah, like a hidden cut. It's
right?
cool.
I know some patents too, motherfucker.
I did not believe you.
But yeah, this. The reason I say that this is one of my favorites that we've ever done is because of the cinematography in this movie. It is excellent.
It's great. I hope that Outland doesn't ruin you for Peter Hyams, but
if he DP'd it, then it probably won't.
I imagine he did. I think he does. I don't know. I didn't even realize he wrote this until this time watching it. And I never looked to see how much other stuff he wrote, but
he nailed this one. He fucking nailed this one.
He's good. I mean, this guy. It feels like this guy just wanted to make movies for me to watch when I was 14.
Sure.
And it felt like a TV movie because there's like not that much violence. I mean, there's violence, but it's not like they don't show any of it.
Right. I mean, you get a little bit. You get the lawyer getting shot in the head.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's that.
And then we stumble across the fat guy / railroad cop body who also has a bullet in the head.
Right, but we don't see
the bullet.
There's a
no
few
pen,
times where
no penetration.
Right. There's a few times where we see it after it happened.
Right.
The most violent part of the first, like the execution at the beginning, J.T. Walsh getting murked, was the lamp.
Yeah.
Like it's him. Like it was just like a gun noise and him just like that. But I guess it went through his head and the lamp fucking smacked around like a pinball for a second. So that was like the abrupt, that was the most violent part of that scene was the lamp breaking and making all that noise. But just getting shot in the head is like, it could have just been a paintball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then 3 people fell.
Yeah.
Some of those stunts on the outside of the train, that's like
Very
real.
good.
They really did that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. I was just like, dang, there is real tension there. Like now when you watch that, you're like, okay, green screen. They're like, they're hanging off a tennis ball or something.
And also, I got to say, the lady getting clipped at the end on top of the train still looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just a simple plate shot, but it worked.
They cut quick.
Yeah, that's all it is. They used a plate for it.
Right, we don't.
But you don't have to edit this to put it on TV at all.
No, we know it. We know it happened, and that's it.
Yeah.
It didn't. It felt like they could have got. It felt like she was still a little bit away from the actual. Like there was still like 6 or 8 feet left before she hit. It did.
Oh,
my
yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
Right, I wanted to see the head come off like in Speed. So it is. It's like if Speed was on television.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the speed cut.
And then that's done, and they're just on the top of the train, and then they just. After that is just smooth sailing all the way to trial. So
those people that they threatened that were going to be there, no idea.
Right? It's 18 months later.
Well, also remember at the end, he was able to get a hold of the DA and tell them where they are and where they were going. So
they like got off the train somehow.
That to me buys the thought that someone got to the train station and headed off.
Yeah,
they
sent real cops, Mounties, like actual Mounties, not the ones that pretending at the toilet fight.
Mm-hmm.
So they sent actual authorities to that train station to meet him. So whoever was there to catch up with them, who knows if they were or what, we'll never know because they don't show us.
Right.
They're on top of the train. Fade to trial.
Right.
Now they're on trial. She's testifying. There's no way this isn't 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
A fucking super rich mob guy. That shit's gonna get dragged out as long as possible. But whatever. Has a nice ending. She does testify. Chekhov's collar gets tight story.
Oh yeah.
Pops up right then. And it's good. It's a solid mid-tier Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna win in real life, nobody's gonna win an Oscar. We'll give one out.
I got
cinematography.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right, but this is just a movie that gets released, and you go see it, and you go, oh, Gene Hackman's got a movie. Let's go see this movie, and you'll have a great time.
Yeah.
If you want to see Gene Hackman do stuff, this fits the bill. It's also a good movie. If you like trains, I fucking love movies on trains. I love trains in movies so much that I still have fond feelings for The Lone Ranger. A lot of that movie is stupid, but I tend to not remember the stuff that sucks. If I could remember the stuff that's cool. Like the Tom Cruise Mummy. Nobody likes that movie. But I just ignore the 30 minutes of unnecessary exposition where they try to explain how a mummy is real. Like, you could take 2 hours, and I don't believe you. I already bought a ticket for a movie called The Mummy.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
Justify it.
Right,
Which is crazy because it's a remake of a movie where that exposition was done in like 4 minutes.
Yeah, which is a remake of a movie from the 30s where they probably didn't even know about exposition.
Right.
People are just sitting around going, how'd they get that much toilet paper? I live in the Dust Bowl. I only eat stuff that falls off the train when it rolls by. And they got enough toilet paper to make a fucking mummy? We have to ration our shitting. We're only allowed to poop 3 times a week. So I just ignore it and remember the cool stuff.
Yeah.
So I like the Lone Ranger, that Johnny Depp nonsense.
Armie Hammer. Yeah.
But when I say I like it, all I remember is he rides a horse on a train, and I go, "That's fucking awesome."
I had a good time watching that movie. I feel like.
So is Back to the Future 3 your favorite?
Of the Back to the Futures? No, but that's because if Back to the Future, if all that stuff if that was the first Back to the Future, yes.
Okay.
What about Wild Wild West?
Yeah,
I like Wild Wild West. I think it's fun.
Liked that movie.
It's
There's
very
trains.
fun. It's stupid. I would never say it's good, but I have a good time. I love Kevin Kline.
Yeah.
Have you heard Kevin Smith talk about that movie?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, it's.
Yeah, the giant.
I'll tell you off
thing.
mic.
Yeah.
It involves the Nick Cage Superman that almost happened.
Okay. There's something with the giant spider where
And
the
the
studio was
producer.
like, we need.
It was the writer and no, it was the producer. So I'll just say it. Kevin Smith was in talks to direct the next Superman with Nick Cage starring. Yeah. And the lead producer on it told him, as he was about to get the job, he has to fight a giant spider.
Like and he was like,
yeah, a giant mechanical spider.
What the fuck are you talking about? He goes, yeah, we need Superman to fight a giant spider. And he's like, so I'm not going to do this movie.
Yeah.
I'm out. And they pressed their head with Superman, but then that didn't go anywhere. And then the next thing that came out from that producer was Wild Wild West.
The giant spider.
With the giant mechanical spider.
This guy, those like, he's probably like one of those big shot producers from the 80s.
Yeah.
Where they would just do, like how that guy was like, how Michael Ovitz or whatever is, when he was a super, we'll talk more about that when we do a Seagal movie, but there's a story where he was like every skyrocketing star at the time, he was their agent, and he was having a lunch with a bunch of agents, and one of them was like, you just have the touch, you can make anybody a star. So they made a bet that he can make anybody a star, and then he raised the stakes by going, I can make anybody, not only can I make anybody a star, I can make the worst person I know a star.
The like, real okay, taming of the shrew.
And he was like, it's my Aikido instructor. This guy is the worst, but I will make him a movie star. And it was Seagal.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. It's so funny. And so there's probably just some dumb fucking coked up lunch where they were like, whichever one of you gets a giant spider in a movie first gets $100,000. We all throw $100,000 in, and whichever one of us idiots could push this into a movie.
Or it's like in Trading Places, it's like $1. Like it's some ridiculous, just rich man shit where it's not inconsequential.
Those guys were just regular rich guys.
They're like, the right. Usual.
It probably wasn't even money. It was probably like, well, I'll throw in $100,000 worth of cocaine.
Yeah.
So there's a table with $500,000 worth of blow, and whichever one of us idiots gets a giant spider
in a movie wins it. Oh, I love
wins. That. How do we get to this? I forgot. I can't.
Well, you were saying train movies, and trains. I was like, Wild Wild West.
Solo. I love Solo, man. They made a Han Solo movie where he robbed a train. What the fuck? That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Top 10. I put it in the top 10 of my Star Wars movies.
Unstoppable. Trying to think of other.
There's 11. Unstoppable is amazing.
Great one.
Runaway Train with John Voight and Eric Roberts.
Source Code.
Great.
That's a commuter train.
Right, but he never leaves.
It tiny little bit of Harry Potter.
Right?
Wanted,
a train station.
Where they curve a bullet around a corner.
Awesome.
Off a train.
That
Spider-Man movie.
The most recent Mission Impossible movie jumped a fucking motorcycle onto a train off a mountain or whatever. I'm not explaining it right.
Ghosts of Mars.
Ghosts of Mars.
Doesn't the
train movie.
The opening scene to Skyfall have a top of the train fight? I'm pretty sure it does.
Oh yeah, one of them does.
So
wait, is that the one where he gets shot?
He gets shot off the train. Yeah, that's Skyfall.
Yeah, whichever one that is.
Skyfall's
because
Spectre
was
Skyfall's
the next one,
good.
and that was Day of the Dead beginning.
Yeah.
Or was that?
Spectre
Never mind.
was disappointing. Anyway.
Right, they kind of all are, even the good ones. But here we go.
Train movies.
Well, do we want to talk about Hackman movies?
Yeah, let's just talk about Hackman a little
questions.
bit. Right, we'll get to that after the break. All right, here we are with the Raz talking narrow margin. It's Gene Hackman Day at the Saturday Afternoon Movie Club. So narrow margin, what do you think?
Hey, Jeff, thanks for having me. This movie was also not good. We're on a train of you picking movies that I don't enjoy, Jeff, and I don't know if I'm a fan. I don't like this podcast anymore. I was started off as a fan, and now you're just like, I feel like you secretly, I honestly, Jeff, I feel like, I don't know if it's you or your listeners emailing you trying to fuck with me, but I'm not enjoying it because this movie wasn't good. It was slow. It was predictable. It was the only thing I liked about this movie. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't finish this movie. I turned it off when they got in a fight at the diner because it was obvious that one guy was the bad guy and he hired those other guys to come to the diner and kidnap the girl, those cops. The only thing I liked about this movie was I do like Gene Hackman. I like Gene Hackman. But I love these old movies when the chase scenes literally were like all over the place because they just fixed the camera onto the vehicle.
Yeah.
So I like the messiness of the chase scene. That's about it. The movie wasn't good. And then I was reading up. I didn't finish it, so I finished reading what it was about, which is going to be a common theme amongst your movies that you've been giving me. And it was a remake, and apparently it wasn't nearly even as good as the remake. So it's like, what are you doing?
Whoa, we should do the original someday. Nah, I don't know. It's hard to imagine a 1952 version of this movie is better or less.
Well,
slow.
it had the word "the" in the title. First off,
the narrow margin.
So
it's weird. I was really trying to see if they ever said it in the movie, and I don't think they say it in the movie ever. It's just because everything's close. It's just close calls. It could have been called Close Calls.
Close calls. Close calls on a train, and it would have been a better movie.
But do you like trains?
Hey, man. Look, dude, I'm a big fan of trains. Big fan of murder and heists. Big fan of blind dates that go Alry. Big fan. And I say Alry because that's how it's spelled. I know it's a rye, but guess what? Them's the breaks. It's 2025. I get to pronounce words as they're spelled these days. And, it's... I'm a big fan. I like Gene Hackman, and I like helicopter people. I like people dying in helicopters. That's why I like Rambo First Blood Part 1, because that's the only blood actually drawn. That's the only person who dies, and it wasn't even him. The guy fell out of the helicopter because he was getting too loosey-goosey. But this movie, yeah, they didn't even make use of the train properly.
No, that's
I don't know.
That's I mean, kind of they did. Everything's on the train. So, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm glad that you, I hope that you like the next one we do, but no promises.
Me too.
I'll be shocked. You've liked more of these than I thought you would. So now we're finally getting to where I thought we'd be.
Well, I do like a good movie. I like movies, dude. Yeah. Contrary to some people, I like things.
No, I know. I've known you a long time.
I like good things. I have a taste.
I've never thought that you hated everything. I've just been surprised by some stuff you have. And that's all.
There's a lot of bad things out there, like Tom Petty.
Oh, buddy. All right. Well, that's it for the Raz, everybody. We'll see you next week. Be kind to all your friends, and we'll see you next week. I'm going to pick something that the Raz is going to hate so much. All right. So that's a Raz on narrow margin.
Here's a movie. Here's a movie to put on here for you and your Tom Petty fandom. Let's watch The Postman, because I like Mail, and I like Kevin Costner, and I like apocalypse movie.
Right? I mean, we could watch that scene. I like that it's implied that he's played himself.
I can watch that scene. Let's just.
I mean, the movie is not great, but
no.
The Tom Petty scene, Welcome to Bridge City, where we don't allow guns, like that's pretty. And then Weren't You Famous? I was once. Like that was all like, holy shit! Is he playing himself? That was pretty neat.
Right.
But yeah,
Lincoln Mercury.
We'll work out. We'll work The Postman into the list someday. The movie's not supposed to take the entirety of a Saturday afternoon, but maybe one day it will.
Maybe one day.
All right, so we'll be right back with the questions for Narrow Margin, and all right, that's the Raz. What's the first Gene? Like, what do you when you think of Gene Hackman? Do you think of him from something, or like what's your Gene Hackman touchstone?
Young Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein? Damn, really?
Yep.
Really?
Wow.
I mean, Quick and the Dead.
Quick and the Dead is your Gene Hackman touchstone?
It's like my favorite.
Amazing.
I mean, or The Birdcage, maybe.
Young Frankenstein is the first one that I know that I saw him in, for sure.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I think mine might be Get Shorty.
Oh, okay.
Like that might be
sure.
That's the first movie I saw Gene Hackman in where I knew I was watching Gene Hackman. I like these movies, like when I saw Narrow Margin or whatever, like I definitely saw this before Get Shorty, because I saw this in an afternoon or whatever, the package too, like, but I didn't really I wasn't really putting it together. Never mind, mine's Hoosiers. I take it back. I saw Hoosiers in the theater. My dad wanted to see it because it's about Indiana.
Is it good?
Hoosiers?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
It's a very much a sports type overcoming thing, but so yeah, people love it. It's great. I have a different relationship with it than most, but it should not. It should not. However I feel about it, shouldn't actually inform or have any influence on how anybody else feels about it.
Sure.
You should just watch it and see what you think. But
the way I'm gauging this question is, I remember seeing Heartbreakers, and I was like, "Oh, it's the guy from Quick and the Dead." So that's how I'm gauging it, because I had watched that movie so many times.
Now that I think about it, I might, yes, even in Hoosiers, when I saw, I was probably 7 or 8 or whatever that movie came out, but it still just felt like Gene Hackman might be a guy where I don't have a touchstone. He just was
just around
a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no Denzel movie where I go, that's where I know Denzel from.
What about
one for that?
I just know Denzel's been a movie star the whole time I've been watching movies.
Yeah.
There's no Han Solo. Like, there was no, something I saw when I was 3 or whatever that locked him in. If it wasn't for the fact that Star Wars was the first thing I watched at a lot, Harrison Ford would just be, oh, that's the guy that's in all the movies.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite Gene Hackman movie? Is it the Touchdowns or
Quick and the Dead is my favorite one?
It's probably Young Frankenstein.
Wow.
And I have to share my husband Paul's favorite Gene Hackman movie.
Oh,
which is Heartbreakers.
Hell yeah. That's my favorite band, so I'm kind of a fan of it from in title alone. I remember watching it. I don't remember much about it, and I kind of want to watch it again. So.
Jennifer Love Hewitt and
Jason
Jamie Lee Curtis.
No, Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver, yeah.
Yeah, why can I remember that, but I can't remember I saw it. Fubar.
It's like a con. They're conning him, or a love con. They're doing a love con. Yeah, we've talked about that. We've talked about some of these.
Love cons are always risky.
I am close though, because I loved Enemy of the State. I really liked that one.
Enemy of the State was
and
a
I
great
forgot
movie.
he was in it.
Right, there's
he's the villain in that, right?
No,
he's
well, fuck me.
John Voight is the
Voight.
villain.
Oh, okay.
And as talk about Floyd Ray's and Enemy of the State was gonna be good. Tony Scott making a techno thriller type thing like that would be fine. But imagine if Gene Hackman and John Voight switch parts. Or imagine John Voight is in the Gene Hackman role and just somebody else is in the John Voight role. There's a lot of people that could do the John Voight role. But you put somebody else in there instead of Gene Hackman, and that movie drops a lot. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to say what my favorite is between Crimson Tide and Enemy of the State and Get Shorty. I just love those movies so much. The French Connection. It's hard. Yeah. Gene Hackman does not have. He's got too many great ones.
Runaway Jury, I liked a lot too.
Yes, Runaway Jury. That's something we should. That's the second to last movie, and he has a scene where he squares off with Dustin Hoffman, former roommate. Right? Isn't that the story? Him and Dustin Hoffman and Robert Duvall all lived together.
I didn't know that.
Him and Hackman and Hoffman went to acting school in Pasadena, the Pasadena School of the Arts or whatever. They both were told that, I think Hackman was voted worst, least likely to succeed, that kind of thing. They were just these guys aren't going to make it. And it's those two dudes. Great. And they finally have that scene. Runaway Jury is better than people forget about it. But
yeah, I need to rewatch it. I need to check it out again.
I've never seen it.
It's good.
You'll like it. It's actually good. It's too good for this.
Yeah.
They would never put that movie on in the afternoon. No fucking kid would ever watch that movie. But all right, so we should. I got to catch my breath, and then we'll come back with the.
Let's just do a couple of questions.
All right, let's do the questions. Yeah,
and then I think do we have more that we wanted to say about this movie or?
No. We'll do the questions, and then let's just do that now.
And then
we have a few questions.
Is there a question that you really are? I just really want to do the alternate titles. That's the only one.
I got one, and I'm afraid you got the one that I came up with.
Okay, so we'll have you go first on that. But do you have an alternate, a description that is technically right but not accurate for
I got
narrow
2 of those.
margin?
I didn't give myself enough time to really sit with this movie, so I only got 2. And those are: a quippy fat guy gets murdered in the privacy of his own cabin.
Compartment.
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 And then this one is very inside baseball for fans. Before becoming a mother of two and a dirty, dirty whore, Barbara Reynolds lived a secret life of murder and intrigue.
Nice. I get this because we talked about it briefly. I was unaware of the Sonny. I don't know.
Yeah,
Sonny.
Ann Archer
Always Sonny
plays Dee and Dennis Reynolds' mom, Barbara Reynolds, and is extremely funny in the 3 episodes she's
That's
in.
awesome.
Wow.
I just put a blind date goes poorly.
Right?
For my description. Do you got one?
Never go to a second location.
Never go. Yeah, why did she go up there? No, I'm staying in the restaurant. Yeah, go up to your room.
Yeah. Your whole life is so different. You never have to go on that train.
You just wonder, and then you read in the paper.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what happened.
Yeah, you get stood up and then go home mad.
Yeah, your husband or your cousin's cabin is still livable.
Yeah.
My one small qualm with this movie is the whole son part doesn't even need to be there.
What?
The whole
Yeah, she
thing
has
with
a
her
kid.
son. I
But
thought
it's
that
just-
was
it's
going to
just
be
like a
like a
3-sentence
Chekhov's
thing.
son. Like there's going to be like a third act twist where they've got the son like up on top of the train or something. Like why?
For some reason, I'm not remembering.
It was during a conversation between her and Hackman at night in their car, in their compartment. And it felt like it was put there to...
it'd be
it's
what
that
would be
late
there
night
conversation.
Yeah, it'd be to make her like sympathetic or whatever, but she already was.
Yeah.
Man,
Like her reluctance to testify does not need to be backstopped at all.
No.
We get it.
We get it.
That's another one where I loved that scene so much, and it had nothing to do with what they were saying. It was simply the fact that it was gorgeous to watch. Like that was such an interestingly shot thing. Like it's almost the exact thing as the door frame.
Yeah.
It's just extremely minimal light on their faces, enough to show what they're doing, and it worked perfectly.
I think it all looked cool, and I don't know enough about cameras or how to make a movie, but there was a lot of times where I was like, they must be really good at this because I can't see them in the window.
From my from my like understanding is basically it's like now cameras can see more of the shadows than they ever could before, and so I think people are kind of lazier now with lighting, where if they just kind of light it, and you can see all the shadows, and then you can do stuff in post. But at that point, you had to like be on point with your lighting and very intentional and using the shadows to create depth and create interesting things.
But you could see their reflections in the window, but not the crew.
Well, it's angles. That's just angles.
No, I know, and I just like I think that's cool. I think that's good. Like,
dude, what's even crazier is all of the following shots through the train. Like that's what tells me either they had the thinnest cam ops ever, or those were sets. Because there are so many times where they are tucked into a corner and just panning along with the people who are in the scene,
I didn't even think about
or
that.
following them through the corridors. I mean, again, like this movie's cinematography is fucking incredible.
I also I feel bad for the railroad cop, the big heavy dude.
Yeah.
But to be fair, he was one pant size away from not being able to fit in the hallway. Like he was like the rock,
and
the Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark rock, like rolling boulder.
And this is part of his job.
Yeah, walk up and down the hallways.
There might be,
And just, I guess, I mean, it must be good to be the security guard and know that you're on patrol, and literally you can't do your job if any other person is also walking around the train.
The train marshal.
You're like, oh, I really feel safe.
The funny line that he gives is from the original. I caught that while I was scrolling through everything.
The grocer line?
Yeah, he said, but in the original, it's nobody loves me but my grocer and my tailor.
Yeah. All right. So you want to do titles, or was there another one that you were?
Those were the only
to
two
do?
synopses I did.
My alternate title is Compartment.
Compartment.
They say that way more than Narrow Margin,
Oh,
which
yeah.
they say never.
I don't even understand how that's the title of this movie. Unless we're
I know.
talking about...
It sounds like it's about writing, like high stakes writing.
Yeah. Or like the amount of space they have to get around the cop in the hallway.
All right, what's your better title?
Right,
for
it's a note you get from your like
Your
if you're
English
taking
teacher.
a yearbook class. If you're on the yearbook staff,
Yeah.
your teacher will be like, "There's too narrow margin. You need it.
We need a wide margin.
A wider margin." Yeah, I guess they wouldn't even say narrow. Like that wouldn't even come up at all. Like they would say you need a wider margin.
Yeah.
It's just the opposite. It's the inverse of what a fucking my yearbook teacher would say.
My only alternate title was Attempted Murder on the Canadian Express.
I like it. I got a couple.
Okay.
So a better title for narrow margin. Compartmentalize this. These get weird. Training day. The Trained Witness.
I'm so mad at you.
Enemy of the Date.
Enemy of the Day.
That's great.
And this is the dumbest one. Choo Choo Connection.
Choo Choo Connection, right?
The
This
Choo
movie
Choo
could be called
Connection.
The Conversation. Gene Hackman in some conversations.
Conversations on a train.
Right? Some are tense. Some are about a recent divorce that's probably not even true. One's about coffee, but he never brings her coffee. He offers, never does. Boo. All right, who gets the Oscar? Hyams.
Hyams, for sure. Hyams and Ann Archer. But Hyams first and foremost.
Who gets the Oscar? What about the lady? She plays she tricks him.
Oh, the honeypot?
Yeah. Susan Hogan. I had to look it up.
She's not even a supporting actress. She's barely in it.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, right.
I do want to mention my actor touchstone for Ann Archer is Fatal Attraction. What is it for you guys?
I think
mine is Patriot Games.
Patriot Games, yeah.
I think I've made mine pretty clear.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yours is Always Sunny.
Right, yours is the thing that came out 8 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So you've been a fan for a while.
Yeah.
Almost all of 2025.
To be fair.
To be.
That's so we'll do
I'm more of a Pluto guy.
What about double feature for this movie? Do you guys have one?
Yeah, I mean, you just keep it with the trains, man.
Yeah, any train movie.
I would actually go Runaway Train because
I got mine.
It has similar vibes because it is more practical and an 80s type movie.
Mine is not of the same tone at all, but Bullet Train.
Bullet Train.
Oh,
yeah.
Bullet Train fucking rips.
Yeah, that movie's
Bullet
really
Train
good.
does rip. It was very fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I had Fatal Attraction for mine.
All right.
I was honestly sincerely thinking about doing an episode of It's Always Sunny that featured Ann Archer, and I was like, that's stupid.
No, that's fine.
But those were all the questions.
When did she show up? I've only seen,
Season
12 seasons of...
Seasons 2 and 3.
She's in seasons 2 and 3?
2
All right,
and
so
3?
I just don't remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Again,
remember.
maybe
Again,
that's my own
Maybe
brain.
1. I don't think she's in 1, but she might be in 1.
Right. DeVito didn't show up until 2, right?
Right.
Like, they just made the first 6 or whatever on their own.
DeVito didn't show up until 2 because the part of them getting renewed for 2 is they bring on a big star to help with ratings.
Yeah. Then they said, we see you need a big star and we raise you. How about Danny DeVito?
a little big
which
star.
was probably at the time, they probably had to be like, they had to balk a little bit. Like, are you sure he's a big star?
He was a fan.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
like, I know why he would do it.
Yeah.
But it's funny to think that they were like, you have to bring on a big star, and they were like Danny DeVito, and then the network was like, yeah, you know exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, right.
You did. You brought on the smallest star possible.
So, did we watch this so you didn't have to?
No, watch this fucking
No, this
movie.
movie's good.
I feel like I liked this movie a lot. And I feel like the only way I would recommend it to somebody would be like, the only person I would recommend it to would be like, Jeff, have you seen this movie?
Yeah, right? There's a couple
in my
people.
life.
Everybody knows a Jeff.
Yeah.
There's a couple people. My Jeff is a Jake, and I think he would like this a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. If you know a Jeff or a Jake, let him know. It's more of an archetype. The name's not necessary.
Doesn't have to be.
But yeah, I dig it. So that's Narrow Margin. And the next one we do is Outland. Peter Hyams. We're doing a second Peter Hyams movie. And starring another guy who just retired and fucked off forever. Sean Connery. This is gonna be great.
Yeah.
He's got his accent. Who knows if he's supposed to be Scottish? Right? Maybe he's from Texas. We'll never know because he'll never tell us. But here we go for Outland and meeting adjourned.